An important part of a game that is often overlooked is its menus. Most people don't really notice a good menu in a game, but they do notice a bad one. So in this devlog, I'm going to begin making all my menus more professional and actually functional. Be sure to subscribe for more. Now it's devlog time. As usual, I had to start off by just finishing up what I had left over from the last devlog. I polished the burst rifle and added some things like an icon for it. Luckily that didn't take very long, so I got to move over to the menu right away. I decided to plan out this menu more than I did for the last one. The old menu was pretty clunky and ugly, so I decided to draw inspiration from some menus that I liked in other games. Well, I mean, more like menus that I didn't hate, because I don't really have any strong feelings about menus. It'd be kinda weird if I did. Risk of Rain 2 is a pretty great game, and its menus and UI are nice and simple, while still having some style. So I drew from the design for the settings menu, pause menu, and sort of the main menu. I planned out everything in a sketch. The main menu will be set in a room with a couch that moves around just like the old one. But this time the room has actual furniture and stuff as well, and is just better designed. Menus are the main focus for these next few weeks, so I'm just going to get all the other things I want done for this devlog out of the way first. The player models are receiving another upgrade. I think the bodies turned out much cleaner and better this time, but I do want to add just a bit more detail to them, and the best way I could come up with doing this was just adding eyes. I decided to do these pretty basic ones, which are actually just directly stolen from a certain show, and these models are going to receive new animations and are designed with inverse kinematics in mind, so I can hopefully finally fix the awful third-person models in the game. I decided to make the pause menu as a bit of a warm-up and a base for the new settings menu and main menu. I tried to use Unity's new UI builder, but as there was practically no documentation and I couldn't really find any reason to use it above the old UI, I just went back to that. I did some researching on good practices for developing UI beforehand and found out that it's a much better idea to use tweens instead of using the animator. So I got an asset called Lean Tween and used it. I also got a color palette off a nice website for UI color palettes, and I put the pause menu together and made some prefabs for buttons and stuff. But the one issue that I was having was that it was paused, so the tweening didn't work. But it turned out that Lean Tween had an easy solution for that too, and it could ignore timescale if needed. So I just did that. And then I had a functioning pause menu that looks and feels a decent amount better. So here comes the much harder part, the settings menu. I designed the settings menu based off of Risk of Rain 2's settings menu. The old settings menu I had was way too zoomed in and pretty hard to navigate. I also feared it would be extremely hard to expand as there was no scrolling and everything was so zoomed in. So I think I scaled the new one much better. I then got to work making the settings work again. I made it so that the settings can open a sub-menu to the right with more settings inside. There's a lot of settings. So I made a tab for each controller's options and remapping to test this out. And then I moved the only option currently available in the game into the sub-menu, which is controller sensitivity for each player. This took quite a bit of reworking and expanding on the settings menu script, but I got it working and added in a scroll bar to the menu. The only real issues with the menu now are that the mute toggle doesn't work for some reason, and the sound apparently does not play while paused, so I cannot find a way around that to add sounds to the pause menu or the settings menu for now. Now that the settings menus and pause menus were completed, I got to work on the main menu. I blocked the menu out in Pro Builder and set up camera movement and got the UI all set up. Now I essentially had a completely non-functional prototype of the game, so it was time to start filling it up. I made lots of furniture models in Blender and laid them out all around the menu. This furniture consisted of shelves, a table, potted plants, paintings, and little potted versions of the cherry blossom tree from the stages. I think I'll add figures and stuff from the various stages into the room as I make more stages. I laid these models out and added materials to the walls and made some floor models that would be tiled on the ground. And now the menu was starting to look a bit more complete, but it was still basically completely non-functional. So I decided to start coding it, starting with the first page, the start menu. The about button opens up a little about page that currently just has random text copied from the log for this video. The settings button actually just opens the pause menu and goes into the settings there. But for some reason it takes 2 presses to open it, and I have no idea why, but it still kinda works. The play button just moves to the next stage of the menu, which is drop in and out menu. This is definitely going to be the toughest part of the menu to make, but luckily I already had some of the code made for the old menus drop in and out, so I had a base to go off of. I got the player 1 drop in working and looking pretty decent, but the options don't work. The other players also don't work yet because I don't have the menu working with controllers yet, which obviously is something I need to fix in the future. Okay, I decided to finish the last day of this devlog by making one new stage. I've gotten a lot faster at making them, so I was actually able to make this one in just about a day. I drew out a basic design and then put it together in Pro Builder. It's a long island split in half by an overpass. I tested it a bit and refined a few parts of it, and then I imported it into Blender and put together the final model. It was pretty much all made the same way as the other stages. Finally, I imported it back into Unity and added the new autumn trees, some rocks, grass, and little pillar things. The only other thing I started on was adding some dead zones to the controllers to make it so the controller drift is less impactful to the game, because currently if the controller drifts just a little bit, it's basically completely impossible to control. Dead zones make it so that you have to move the controller button a decent amount for it to actually register, so it gets rid of tiny inputs like a drift and just accidental ones. So I added dead zones, but it was impossible to test because without the main menu functionable, the game doesn't really work with controllers because they need to drop in the main menu. Because of that, I will probably be waiting until the next devlog before releasing a new demo because most things in the game are not functionable. But the new menu will have an option for dead zones, so that should solve the drift issue. I also promise the next devlog won't take as long as this one to come out. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. The game is available for free on itch.io for download if you are interested, along with all my other projects and game jams. Bye.